Good evening and welcome to the Red Sea podcast. I am the Southern Scouser and this is Red Sea Full Time. A little bit different today on my own. So all you guys in the comments, you're going to be more than welcome to join me. I've put the link in the description in the comments. So jump in, join me, and we're going to have a live guests jumping in for a chat about Liverpool as they beat Wolves 1-0 at Molineux and go back to the top of the league. Let's get into the game.
Tell the world we are Liverpool, champions of England.
We've conquered all of Europe. We're never gonna stop. From Palestine to Turkey, we've won the fucking lot. But Paisley and the Shankly, the fields of our field gold. We are unsupported, and we come from Liverpool.
Hi guys, it's your host, the Southern Scouser. James is very busy today. I have been a bit poorly with my tooth. I had my wisdom tooth out this week, so that's why I didn't feature last night on the Wolves preview. But it was a fantastic show. If you did miss it, Steve, Top of the Cop, Roy, and James and Courtney were on last night previewing the game. A few big predictions last night. Myself, I went for 3-0 Liverpool. A little bit more a closer game than expected. Wolves put up a really good fight. Only the 1-0, and it took Liverpool until the 94th minute to find the breakthrough. And who was it but that man, Divock Origi, has had massive criticism, mainly from myself, that he's not contributing. He's not really putting his weight. He's happy to sit around and be a sub, not really get a chance in the first team, and more than happy to pick up a wage. But that's what we've been saying. Me and James have been saying it for weeks, for months. You know, the backup brigade, the substitutions, if they can come in and make a difference, even if it's 2-3 times a season and contribute to this team. And if we end up winning the league by a couple of points, this could be the moment that we look back on in the season and go, do you know what? That was the time. That was the day where Chelsea lost to West Ham. You know, the chance really opened up for Liverpool to go and win this game and go to the top of the league. Yes, Man City are playing against Watford. They're already 1-0 up as far as I'm aware, and they could go to the top of the league as well. But this is how you win titles. You have to take your chances. When your main rivals drop points, you have to win your own game. If you concentrate on yourself, that's all you can expect to be done. You know, win, and win some more. So cracking game. If anybody wants to jump in with me, I've put the link in the description, in the comments. So if you want to join me, guys, just touch just click on the link, and I'll add you straight in, and we'll have a chat about it. So Daddy Pig, Cade Fagan, Stephen Somerville, all the regular guests that are in here. If you want to join in and jump on with me and have a discussion, you're more than welcome to do so. It's a special version of Red Sea Full Time today, and if we get an extra person, we'll see the Red Sea Full Time background as well. So let's get into it, guys. If you want to just stay in the comments, absolutely more than welcome to do so as well. So we'll get through a few of the comments right now. So Stephen Somerville, Origi is my guy. Keeps proving me wrong every time. He's proved me wrong. I mean, he has contributed in seasons gone by, whether that's against Everton, against Newcastle, in the Champions League, but he's not done a lot for a while. You know, we've been waiting for an Origi moment for some time. You know, he's been overlooked. Minamino has sometimes come on ahead of him, and when the front four are fit, you know, Jota, Firmino, Mane, and Salah, it's quite difficult to see a way that Origi gets game time other than in the League Cup and kind of dead rubber Champions League games. But what a goal. we'll get into that in a moment. But what a fantastic goal to win a game. Really, really impressive and exactly what we needed, wasn't it? Cade Fagan, thanks for joining, mate. Evening, my lovely lads. Absolutely. It's going to put me in a good mood for the rest of this weekend. Pig, more than welcome along. Wow, Liverpool, I had to watch the game in my black spandex and balaclava in case the boys needed me to help rub walls. What a great comment that is. I mean, I'd kind of resigned myself to the 0-0 draw. It wasn't televised over here in the UK, so I had to catch up with some highlights a moment ago. So that's the reason for the delay to the show. So I do apologise for that, and thank you so much for joining us as always, loyal watchers. But yeah, it's a game where I kind of resigned myself to thinking it sounds like a 0-0. I had it on the radio. You know, Jota had a massive chance, which we'll get into as well. Sadio Mane, 4 minutes from time, had a chance as well. And you're thinking it's going to be one of them days. You know, it's typical, isn't it? Chelsea drop points, massive chance for Liverpool to close that gap. You know, by a point with a draw, yes, would be good, but you know, to claim 3 points on Chelsea is a massive chance, and one we couldn't really afford to let slip us by. So Kai had a great comment here. We were shocking for an hour and a half, SS. Yeah, I agree. Other than the Jota chance, again, I heard it on the radio and I've caught up with the highlights. Nothing really happened. I mean, you get into the Jota chance, goalie comes out, ridiculous how he's to come out all that way, and Jota goes round him, and you think you're waiting for him to just slide it in. There's two players on the line. If you whack it into the top bins, there's not a lot they can do. They can't use their hands, and he kind of just blasts it straight at kind of Cody, which is just ridiculous. And Jota's almost embarrassed that he's not had that not scored that chance. And you've even got Mane. You could have even slid Mane in for a tap in. The two defenders on the line have kind of set themselves for the Jota strike, and Sadio Mane's waiting there for a tap in as well. And the offside, you have to have two players with a goalie and a defender, and there were two defenders there, so it wouldn't have been an issue. So it was a bit disappointing to not see Jota put that in, especially because he's in my fantasy league team. But Sadio Mane had a chance. I agree with Cade Fagan, probably the 90th minute or something, just after the hour and a half mark. Again, big chance for him and let it slip by. And you think that could have been it. That could have been the last chance. So, and you say, look at Manchester City now. I think the last time I checked, they were 1-0 up. Whether or not that's gone up again, I don't think it has just yet. But yeah, 4 minutes it took them to take the lead at Watford. It's by no means over. Watford did fight back against Chelsea, and at home under Ranieri, they're a decent side. So I would expect at least one more goal in that game to come. So yeah, we looked like we were going to fold. There were some chances for Wolves at the other end as well, but Wolves have just drawn 0-0 with Norwich at home, so you know what kind of team they are. They're not great at scoring goals, but they're quite tight at the back. They've had 3 clean sheets in a row, so I expected it to be a bit of a challenge for Liverpool to get the win, and it was a real grind in the end, wasn't it? I mean, I hoped on the prediction that it would be a 2-3-0. We've been absolutely destroying teams, left, right, and centre in the last few weeks. 4 against Everton, against Arsenal, 5 against United in the Champions League, 5 from 5. Can we make that 6 from 6 against Milan in the week? Would be absolutely brilliant. Stephen, you're more than welcome to jump on, mate. Thank you for your comments. Really appreciate it. Very big. I'm sitting naked after that game. It was stressful. Brilliant. No, it was. I mean, you could see the relief, couldn't you, on the sideline? Jurgen Klopp and Pep Linders and all the coaching staff. It was crazy, wasn't it? One of them Everton moments. One of them. You see the Alex Ferguson when he's jumping up and down, jumping onto the pitch back in the 90s. It's one of them moments where hopefully this moment leads to Liverpool winning something, and you can actually see them look back on the season, look back on the highlights of all the different game weeks, and think, do you know what, that weekend where Chelsea lost and Liverpool won in the 94th minute, that 3 points was huge. That was the difference between them coming second and winning the league. And yes, we've won the league a couple of seasons ago. We didn't get to do our parade with the trophy, which is disappointing. And I feel, yes, we've got a league, we've got a Champions League with this current squad and this current team and this current 11. It's a really special group of players, let's be fair. And I think one league title would be disappointing, if I'm honest, from this group of players under Jurgen Klopp. If Jurgen Klopp left Liverpool, Salah and Van Dijk and Mane got into their 30s, 30, 33, 34, and we had to start again, start rebuilding. And this current group only got one league title and one Champions League. Yes, it's fantastic, but I think the quality and the level that this team have reached, I think that would be underachievement. So whether we win the league this year or next year or the year after that, we'll have to wait and see. But this could be a massive step to it in 2022. So let's have a look what else we got. So cheers. I might have to run, seeing that it's lunchtime on this side of the pond. I imagine you are in America. So thank you very much for joining us over there. We barely could pass, couldn't keep the ball, wingers couldn't beat the man. Yeah, it seems like a real kind of stale Liverpool performance, which is a strange one because, it's a 3 o'clock game. I understand they're not quite Everton under the lights in a midweek evening. I get the atmosphere is not quite the same, but Molineux is a great stadium and they've got a light show, and we are in a time of year where it does start to get dark around the second half. So especially when Chelsea have dropped 3 points and you can literally go top of the league with a win. So I think Liverpool were a little bit disappointing overall in terms of the actual performance. But how do you win a league title? You win dirty. You win at all costs, even when you're not playing well. You find a way. In the 94th minute, Divock Origi comes on as a sub and gets the winner. And we've seen it so many times before. Mo Salah down the right-hand side cuts the ball into Origi. It's a really good touch, a really good turn. I'm not sure where the Wolves goalkeeper's going. He's kind of off on his holidays to the right-hand side. Kind of makes up Origi's mind for him, who batters it into the bottom corner. And yeah, from there, the rest is history. What a great end to a game, to win 1-0 away from home, and that journey back from the Black Country will be a lot more pleasant than it maybe would have been. What else have we got here? So we've got Stephen, aka David. So welcome to you, mate. You do all our thumbnails, everything else, all the technical stuff for us over at the Red Sea Podcast. So guys, massive shout out to David, who is Christian name is Stephen, but goes by the name of David as his middle name. Disappointing finishing and decision making, but how many years did those Dirty Mancs win games like that time and time again in Fergie time and win the league? I could not agree more with the entire statement. As I said, you have to win dirty sometimes. You have to win at all costs. And if that takes you 93, 94, 95 plus minutes to win the game, all that matters is that you come away from that match with 3 points. So huge result for Liverpool today. Wolves were currently 6th in the table. It's not an easy place to go at all. They haven't conceded a goal in 200 and something minutes of Premier League football. Liverpool have been kind of absolutely destroying every team. So something had to give, and it was one of them games where chances were limited, and the chances that we did have, we did seem to let pass us by, which was a shame, and especially that Jota moment. But like you say, how many league titles did Man United win this way? Every single week, even if they're not playing very well, get that winner in the last kick of the game, and 3 points over 1 point added up over a season is the difference between coming in the top 4 and winning that title. So 100% agree with all of that. Really thankful for Divock Origi. Again, I kind of have to eat my words a little bit, because I've been really critical of Divock Origi, and obviously one goal doesn't change that. I don't think Divock Origi has suddenly saved his Liverpool career at all. But if he's going to be in the squad, if he's going to be the 4th, 5th, 6th choice attacker, when we need to rely on him, we've got January coming up with the African Nations Cup. Mo Salah and Sadio Mane will both be away for at least 2 league games. I think it's Brentford and Leicester that they'll miss. So Origi's going to be called upon and relied on. And if he can pop up with a goal in one of those games and it earns us a win, he's more than paid for his salary this season. I still think he'll move on in the summer. I don't see a place for Divock Origi here. I think we need another front 4 player, front 5, make that into a front 5. Someone on the same level. I think Minamino and Origi could both be off in the summer, and we maybe bring in one that could play the combined matches and minutes that they do. So yeah, I don't think he's saved his Liverpool career by any means, but he's a player of moments. We've mentioned it: Everton, Newcastle, Barcelona, Spurs. He's a cult hero for Liverpool. Even though he's not been consistent, he's a player of moments, and today is one for the highlight reel for his Liverpool career. Absolutely right. So it was slack from us today. I completely agree with you. Like you say, the first 20 minutes against Everton and against a lot of teams, we've blown them away. We've been absolutely incredible, whether that be in the Champions League or the Premier League. The first 20, 30 minutes, against United as well, just destroyed teams 2-3-0 up. And the game's basically over. Only Brighton was the disappointment when we did the similar start and didn't go on to win that game, which was a massive disappointment to not pick up 3 points at home to them. But absolutely, sometimes you are going to win by destroying teams, and you're going to be in form, and everything's going to go for you. Every chance is going to be a goal, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's going to take the 16th, 17th chance in the 94th minute to get that breakthrough. And it's absolutely important to not lose the game when it's like that. But if you can keep going until the last second where it's a draw, 0-0, 1-1, and you think, can we nick a winner? Can we get something from a set piece, a chance, a mistake, anything at all? And, we've used our bench today. I look at the lineup, and I predicted a pretty strong 11, because we've got Milan in the week where we're going to probably rest, I would say, a lot of the players. We're already through. We've already won the group. We've got 5 out of 5. Yes, 6 out of 6 is lovely, but I'd rather beat Wolves than beat Milan, let's be honest. So, I look at the lineup today. I predicted Konate would come in for Matip, but it was exactly the same 11 that started against Everton at Goodison Park midweek. Alisson, Trent, Matip, Van Dijk, Robbo, Fabinho, Hendo, Thiago, which seems to be the first choice strength midfield. Now they're all fit. Salah, Jota, Mane again picks itself really. So Matip kept his place, which makes you think Konate will almost certainly start against AC Milan. I think Tsimikas may be starting as well in that game. maybe Nico Williams as well. You see Milner come on today, Chamberlain come on. I'd expect them to start in Milan as well. Could we see Kelleher potentially start in Milan? I'm not sure. We've got Nat Phillips, Minamino on the bench as well. So I expect quite a lot of rotation for midweek, because we've had a weekend game, a midweek game, a weekend game, a midweek game, and a weekend game. Every single match now is every 3-4 days now. I think 5 days is the biggest gap we've got over the next couple of months between matches. So it's a really, really difficult place to be, and we have to use rotation. And yes, our squad depth isn't as strong as, say, a Manchester City, as a Chelsea, but they're there, so we have to use them. We can't just say Minamino and Origi aren't good enough. We've chosen that they're our 5th and 6th choice attackers. So when we need them, Bobby's out. We need to make a substitution. Henderson came off for Origi on the 68th minute. Jota came off for Chamberlain. They have to contribute, and today they've done that. So massive win. So yeah, it is a fresh trim, David. Today I was well overdue. But yeah, thanks for noticing. What else have we got in here in the comments, guys? Again, if anybody wants to jump in, I'll put the link in the comments. More than welcome to jump in and have your say. Let's have a look what else we've got in the comments so far. So yeah, we have to like more inspired and sharp than today. I agree. You can't play like this every week and win the league. It's not possible. It's also not possible to play amazing for 38 matches. So you have to be good at both. You more than 60, 70, 80% of the time, you are going to be the better team and deserve to win that game, and take your chances. You will win. A team like Liverpool will create enough chances in a game usually to win and get what you deserve. And there are games like this, maybe 5-10 a season, where you don't turn up as the best version of yourself, and you have to absolutely grind it out, which is exactly what Ravi has said in the comments. Absolutely spot on there, Ravi. Welcome to the show. We did it. We grind out the win, and it's spot on. You can't win 3-4 5-0 every week. As much as the team lineups on paper are it's absolutely certain that Liverpool have got a better 11 than Wolves. And there was a lot of talk about Adama Traore pre-game and on our preview show, whether we should be signing him. And I was very against it. He did start the game. He played pretty much the whole match, which was surprising. I expected him to come on as a sub, but Trincao swapped roles with him today. Hwang had a good chance, who we know well. He scored against us for Salzburg, and we know what Raul Jimenez is all about as well. But absolutely, you look at the team lineups and you think, how many of that 11 of Wolves would go into that Liverpool team? And the answer is 0. So to win 1-0 in the 94th minute just shows you, what football is. It's not a foregone conclusion. You have to be at your best every single week. So Jeffrey, welcome to the show, mate. Wonder what our XG was for that game. It's a great shout. If anyone knows, let me know. Neto, yeah, he's not featuring at the minute. Maybe he's injured for Wolves, but Haaland would be incredible. Absolutely. Someone we probably should have bought from Salzburg, if we're honest. They did defend very well. Wolves, they got that back 5. Obviously, Connor Cody on the line against Jota was quite incredible to stop that from going in without his hands. But fair play, we've said they don't concede many goals. They're 6th. They were 6th for a reason. They're a hard team to beat. They have dropped to 8th now due to Spurs and United going above them. But it's Wolves are going to be a top half team this season. I would suggest. I don't think there's not 10 better teams than them in the league. So I think 10th, top 10 would be good for Wolves. They've had a new manager. They've lost a couple of players. So Jota's gone. They lost the goalkeeper to Roma. So they're doing very well. They're still a very new team in the Premier League, Wolves. So I wouldn't expect them to be pushing for Europe. West Ham are doing really well. Arsenal are coming back strong. Spurs have picked up a bit of form, and you'd expect United to bounce back with the new manager. And Brighton have had a good season so far. Leicester, you'd expect them to improve. So it's tough, but I think they can come in the top 10. I think at least 10th, possibly 9th, depending on others. So, and absolutely spot on again, Kyle, as I was saying, we did use the bench to superb effect. Absolutely agree. So welcome to Cradle to Cradle. We are one regular midfielder, Tielemans, away from the perfect squad. It's an interesting one, that, because I was so for signing Tielemans. He looked like the obvious Wijnaldum replacement in the summer. Really similar players. One's Flemish, one's Dutch. Similar school of football. Anderlecht and Ajax. Starting to add goals and assists to his game at Leicester, and without being too disrespectful, I think he'd reached his potential at Leicester. They won an FA Cup with him. He wasn't there when they won the league. And realistically, they were always going to drop down. Brendan Rodgers said that they'd overachieved in the last few seasons. They should have come in the top 4. They bottled it twice. And a player of Tielemans' quality, and now what, 24, 25, how many more years does he want to wait to move to a top 6, top 4 team? He should be playing in the Champions League every week. He's a starter for Belgium, one of the best international teams in world football. So I would expect Tielemans to move on this summer if Leicester don't recover and don't come in the top 6. If they scrape Europa League, potentially they could hold on to him for another season. If they miss out on Europe altogether, I think he could be on his way. He will cost a lot of money. I would still take him. Tielemans has been linked. Obviously, Calvin Phillips, Jude Bellingham as well, all been linked with the move to Liverpool. I'd personally take all 3 and ship out the likes of Keita and Chamberlain. Obviously, Milner's probably going to be in his last season, so 3 for 3 would be great. But in terms of what we have in midfield already, we are quite stacked. I know injuries play a purpose in that, but if you've got to remember Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, they're both options in centre midfield as well. We've got the 3 that started today in Fabinho, Thiago and Henderson. We've got Milner. We've got Keita when he's back fit, which seems to be never. We've got Chamberlain. So there's good options there. So I don't think we need more numbers, but personally, I would sign better quality and availability, absolutely. And Ravi with the song as well. We are Liverpool. Tra la 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 la. Absolutely fantastic. It makes your weekend, doesn't it? When Liverpool get a win like that. So again, if you want to jump in, guys, we've got. I'll put the link in the comments if you want to join me. If you don't, and you just want to stay in the comments, that's absolutely fine as well. So let's have a look. So Kaid in the comments. My thing is that we played the last couple matches in second gear, so we have to be able to step it up a gear. I think that's true. I think the sign of champions is that you win games in second gear, in third gear. And sometimes you don't need to get out of that gear. We've seen against Atletico Madrid and Porto in the Champions League that we've kind of coasted it. We've kind of got into second gear, even against Man United, and Everton to an extent. Second and third gear has been enough. But I agree with you, Kai. I think in games like this today, we're in second gear and it's not quite enough. We're in third gear and it's not quite enough. Sometimes we need to go, can we step this up, guys? Because yes, 94th minute winners are absolutely fantastic, but it's bloody lucky. You've got to be bloody careful. That could quite easily have been a 0-0 today. Let's be fair. It's a great finish, a great end to a game, but that could have easily been 0-0. There could have been a minute less added time, and that could have been 2 points dropped, and we could still be behind Chelsea, even though they lost. And weekends like this, Chelsea play, then Liverpool play, then Man City play. These are the days that you will look back on at the end of the season and think, do you know what? That was a missed chance. That was a missed opportunity. I remember when we came 1 point behind Man City at 98, 97 point season. And we drew 0-0 with Man United at Old Trafford. I think they had 3 injuries in the first half an hour. And we drew 0-0. And you think, if we'd have just got 1 goal in that game, we'd have won the league. So there's been plenty of times. I think we came 4 points behind Manchester United. I think they had 90. We had 86. God, must have been 10 years ago. And I think we drew with 0-0 with Stoke twice in that season. And you think, just a goal against Stoke, we win the league. So I completely agree with that comment. We need to be able to say, do you know what, guys? This is looking like a 0-0 if we carry on in this manner. We've got to step it up before the 94th minute. Absolutely. So who else we got here? So David again in the comments. 4 weeks today to the transfer window opens. Based on today's performance, any strengthening needed, particularly in depth? What a great question. So I would particularly say, in terms of FSG, I don't see any transfers coming in January at all. We're going to lose Salah. We're going to lose Mane. I don't see a sign in a player at all. If I'm honest, in January, I'm not particularly hoping that we sign one in the summer either. I am hoping that we sign one. But, again, you look at the squad and I agree, the quality could be better, but the numbers, they are really there. If everybody was fit and available, as I said, in midfield, we've got 7-8 midfielders in the front positions. We've got Mane and Salah go to the African Cup of Nations. You've got Firmino, you've got Jota, you've got Minamino, you've got Origi. And I agree the quality could be better, but we've still got four front players for the 3 positions. Ox can play wide and up the top. Elliott will be coming back in the new year as well. So I would personally say that we do need to sign a front man. I would like a Vlahovic from Fiorentina. Rafinha looks good at Leeds. I think St. Maximan at Newcastle would be good. And I also think that a backup right back is needed. we did touch on this briefly on the preview show last night, because we've seen Tsimikas and Robertson kind of vie for that left back position, and I don't think anybody expected Robertson to be replaced by Tsimikas, but I think he kind of needed a kick up the backside to say, do you know what, Robbo, if you don't stay fit and in form, we've got an option now. You know, it's not just you. It's not just James Milner filling in for a couple of weeks, because that's all we've got. You know, there's someone breathing down your neck. And I look at Chelsea. You've got Azpilicueta and James. You've got Alonso and Chilwell. The person that's in the form keeps their position and keeps their place, and it's up to the other one to fight their way back in when they get their opportunity. So I personally think, in terms of the right back position, Trent again really is only him. So I'd quite like to see either a Max Aarons from Norwich, a Tariq Lamptey from Brighton, and my kind of curveball one is Dwight McNeil from Burnley, who I agree he's not a right back as such. He kind of plays left mid or right mid, but the way that we play our fullbacks, how forward they get with the delivery, McNeil would be brilliant. I think he would be a great wing back. And I know we don't play a back five, but Fabinho does drop into that back three to allow Robertson and Trent to bomb forward, to become basically wingers. And Roy from top of the cop made a really good comment last night on the Wolves preview show. If you didn't see that, go and check that out on our channel, guys. We are approaching 600 subs, so if you haven't subscribed, please drop us a sub. We are trying to get to 1,000 before the end of the season, and we only started the channel in August, so absolutely flying. So thank you so much for everybody that's subbed and liked and continues to watch the shows. It's massively appreciated. So I think Dwight McNeil from Burnley, they lost to Newcastle today. They're in big trouble. I think they could go down this season. I'm not sure how they're still in the Premier League with some of the quality that they have, but I think Dwight McNeil, another homegrown player, I think he'd be a really good option for Liverpool, and he could play in a multitude of positions. I think he'd be a great option at right back for Trent as well in the way that we play a right back. So welcome LJ all the way from India. Taxes, death, Origi late winners are certain. Absolutely. Water is wet and Divock Origi gets the winner, doesn't he? So what else have we got? Guys, again, if you want to jump in, here's the comment. Here's the link. If you want to jump in for a quick chat, I'll be wrapping up soon. So if you want to jump in, let us know. Kaid, good to see that you agree with me. Absolutely. That's absolutely brilliant. So what else have we got here? Looking through a few more of the comments. FSG ready and waiting to blame the Omicron variant for no transfers. I think you're right. I really don't see any January arrivals. You know, we did transfer Tuesday every week in the summer, me and James. We had some good guests on as well. If you've not seen any of those, I know obviously it's old news, but to be fair, it's kind of new news, because all we're doing is talking about links for players who, to be fair, are still linked with us, so they're not really expired. So if you've missed any of those, guys, go into the playlist on the channel, click on Transfer Tuesday, and there'll be pictures and links of different players that we've discussed that who could still potentially join us in the future. Good comment here from Rizza. Jota is a great goal scorer, naturally instinctive, but he fades in and out of a game. Disengaged at points. I would love to see Minamino robust, great touch, and can grab a goal and play between the lines. Interesting comment there, because I agree. I do think Jota can go missing at times, but I also think that he has done enough to earn his place in this team. And personally, I don't see Bobby getting back in this team when both are fit and available. I love Bobby Firmino. I think he's brilliant. I think he offers something different to Jota. But if Jota can do the press and score goals like he is, and I know he should have scored today, but the numbers for Bobby have definitely dipped in the last couple of seasons. If he can get back to scoring and assisting that little bit more, then 100%. But for me, Diogo Jota, Mane and Salah is a relentless front three, and yet they can't all be at their best every week. But for me, I think Jota is a fantastic player, and he's absolutely superb. Minamino, for me, it's such a hard one to say, because a lot of people will say he's not had his chance. He only gets 5-10 minutes at the end of games. He gets played in the League Cup with the under-23s, which is true. But he's nearly been here 2 years now. You know, you can't keep blaming COVID forever. At some point, Minamino needs to step up in training and go, do you know what, boss? Look how good I am. You need to give me a chance. You need to give me 20, 30, 40 minutes in a game and start me this week, because I've been sensational in training. And it's so difficult to dislodge Mane and Salah and Firmino, but Jota managed it. You know, Jota came into this team very much as a fourth choice option, and he would have known to break into that front three is tough. I'm going to be the first choice, whether that's on the left for Mane or through the middle as a substitution, that kind of 12th man. But for me, Minamino has had a lot of chances, and for me, he's just not done enough. He's nearly been here 2 years, and there's only so many excuses you can make for a £7 million player. You know, there may be a reason why he was only £7 million. So yes, he's a technically good player. He's great with his feet. He's got good ability, but has he got the stamina and the strength, for this league? He can score a goal in the League Cup against lower opposition. Will he start against AC Milan? That's a good chance for him to put in a good show, a good display. But for me, I think Minamino's time is over at Liverpool. Personally, I think he would probably be moved on in the summer, because I don't think he's done enough. And yes, he could have been given more chances. I agree, but you also have to earn that chance, and clearly he's not quite done enough to do that. Interesting comment here from Umar. We don't have a proper backup DM. Great, it's a great point, because Fabinho is a solid CDM. He is what you expect a CDM to be. He's the Hoover. He tackles, he breaks up play, and he gets a yellow card if he needs to. If he needs to put a foul in to stop a goal, he will do so. And when he's not available, we do look a very different team. And Henderson, for me, has done a really good job when he's stepped into DM. It's a slightly different way he plays it. He's more on the ball, more deep line playmaker, and he can put the tackle in, and he can make a foul if he needs to, but he's not quite got the engine for me that Fabinho has with the age the age difference. So I agree. I think Calvin Phillips would be a really good sign-in as a backup for Fabinho or a rotation. Henderson's not getting any younger. I think he's world class. Henderson, I think he's absolutely brilliant. Goals, assists. The goal against Everton was unbelievable. But we have to be realistic and think Thiago, Milner, Henderson aren't going to play forever. Jones and Elliott are coming through, but are not quite there yet. Chamberlain, Keita are inconsistent. So Calvin Phillips, Tielemans, Bellingham would all be great options. So let's have a look. Antio Chill, if West Ham weren't doing so good, I'd say get Bowen. It looks quality. Do you know, this is an interesting one. If you go to my Twitter, at the South Scouse, my pinned tweet is my reaction live on Redmen TV with Paul Machin and Ross from the Redmen TV, with James from the Red Sea podcast. And the news that Liverpool were linked with Jarrod Bowen actually dropped live while we were live on their show. And my reaction wasn't particularly brilliant to the Bowen links, because obviously this was pre-season. This was before the season got going. And for me, Jarrod Bowen, it was like a Stuart Downing kind of signing. Like, oh, he's okay. He's all right for a West Ham, but, he's not Liverpool quality. And to be fair to him, he's done incredibly well. And he was involved in the winner against Liverpool for West Ham when they beat us 3-2 at the London Stadium. So he has had a good season. However, I still think that's his limit. I don't think he has another gear, another level. I think West Ham is perfect for him, and he's perfect for West Ham. So I think Bowen is a good player, but the money that they would ask for him would not be worth the quality that you'd get. I think there's better options out there. Rafinha, St. Maximan, McNeil, players like that, I think would be better options. And even if you look abroad, there's probably better quality for a lot less money if you look in some of the other leagues. So not for me, that one. Not for me. So we've got good on here from Jeffrey. Taki's had less time than Jota. Sample size is too small to tell anything. Again, yes, I agree. I think he could have been given more opportunities, but again, he's been here for 2 years. As I said, you have to earn the opportunity to start in the Prem, in the Champions League, in a game that matters, because he's looked bang average sometimes against League 2, League 1 opposition. And yes, he gets goals in the League Cup. He gets goals when he comes on. We're already 3-4-0 up, and he gets a goal after 30 seconds in the Premier League when the game's already over. But it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because on one hand, yes, Jota came in, but Jota's earned his chance, because every time he got a chance, he was amazing. He scored goals, he pressed, he looked good on the ball, he looked interested. He fit into the squad, into the team, into the style really, really well. And I still think Minamino is just not quite there. I think a bottom half Premier League team would snap him up for you. 15, 20 million pound would be great. Probably not going to get quite as much as that, but 10, 15 mil, I think would be fair if we was to move him on and put that towards someone that can actually contribute to this team. Again, from Umar, FSG lack of spending isn't showing, as we've been lucky with Mane and Salah almost never being injured. I agree. That's a really, really good comment. We've been so fortunate with injuries in those wide positions. We've not really had Mane or Salah missing for any kind of period of time. Jota was missing for 3 months last season, which was really, really hard to take. And obviously, Bobby's is currently out injured. I think he's on a 6 weeks, so he hopefully is close to a return. But we'll find out in January, won't we? If Mane and Salah both go to the African Nations Cup, what will happen? Do we sign a stopgap? Do we sign a loan signing? Do we go out and spend 20, 30 million pounds on someone that can play for us for 6 months? Or do we sign someone that can contribute and actually try and get into this team with Mane and Salah when they return? Do we sign someone that's going to come in and go, do you know what? Look at Jota. He came in as a backup, but he was brilliant. And now he's pretty much rotated as that famous front three has become a front four. So it'll be very interesting in January if we do sign someone. But for me, I can't see it with FSG. Can we sell Coutinho to Barca again? Does FSG have money to buy? Yeah, I mean, let's just sign him. Let's sign him up for on a free probably to get rid of him. Barcelona at the minute. Obviously, they've got Xavi. I don't know if he'll get another chance in the new regime at Barcelona. Personally, I loved Coutinho, and it's such a shame to see what's happened to him since he left the club. Obviously didn't really work at Barca. Loan to Bayern, did well, won the league, but they didn't want to make it permanent, probably because of the finances involved, and he's not got back really into any kind of form that he managed at Liverpool. I'm sure he regrets leaving the club, but I don't see a way back for Coutinho. Klopp's not one to re-sign players that leave, and the money that he's currently on, I think it's 350, 400k a week at Barcelona. We're arming and ahhing about giving Salah 250, 300. We're not going to be giving Coutinho 450k a week. So I think that time has unfortunately gone. David and Stephen in the comments, Calvin Phillips won't leave Leeds. What about players like Rice? Interesting one. For me, Calvin Phillips has had a bit of a bust up with Bielsa. He's been playing at centre-back and then sometimes taken off at half-time. So all is not well there. I don't think Leeds will go down. However, I don't think they'll sell Calvin Phillips in January. If they stay up but come 15th, 16th, 14th, I think he could be interested in a move because he's not in his teen years. I think he's good enough for a top 6 team. He's a regular in the England lineup now as well. So I would like to see a move for Calvin Phillips. Maybe that will be in the summer. And players like Rice, again, I think he's been heavily linked with Chelsea. He was there in his youth days. He was good friends with Mason Mount. He's been linked with Man United really heavily as well. Could he potentially move to one of those two? I think it could be a bidding war between those two. And when those two are involved in a player, Liverpool unfortunately can't compete. We don't tend to enter bidding wars, Liverpool. We tend to identify a player, agree a fee pretty early, pretty on the down low and get the deal over the line. It's very rare that you have a Liverpool rumour rumble on for months and months and we actually sign that player. And the only one time that you would say what we did was with Van Dijk. And the only reason it rumbled on was because Southampton obviously made the complaint that we approached him illegally in the summer and we had to wait till Jan. So I don't see Rice come in. I think there's too many other interested parties and West Ham are doing really well at the minute. But I think Rice realistically, if West Ham get in the Champions League, he could stay. If they miss out on top 4, I think a move to Chelsea or United is more likely for me. But Calvin Phillips, I'd have all day long. We've got some other good comments in here. Kaid, Gravenberch, Neuhaus, and Jude Bellingham. Again, all good names. Neuhaus, for me, I've not seen enough of him to comment. Jude Bellingham, yep, he looks made for Liverpool, doesn't he? And Gravenberch is another youth player at Ajax. And, we've seen how good players from there are. Could he be given the chance to go to Liverpool potentially? We saw it with Tielemans. He had to go from Anderlecht to Monaco to Leicester. And now we're interested. So, for me, are Liverpool looking to buy players on a risk now and think he could become good? Let's save ourselves 30, 40 million pounds and buy them. And if they become brilliant, we've already got them. Or do we have to now look at the players that have already proven themselves at a Leicester, at a Dortmund and go, right, now we buy the proven player? Because if we're trying to compete with Man City and Chelsea, let's be fair. Man City went out and bought Jack Grealish for £100 million. Chelsea went out and bought Lukaku for £90 million. Ready-made players. The best player in that position that they could find, that they could sign, that was available. So for me, it's great to buy Robertson for £8 million from Hull and he become the best left back in the world. It's absolutely fantastic, to buy Mo Salah and Mane from Southampton and Roma respectively, and they become the 2 best wingers on the planet for a 2-3 season period. But eventually your luck runs out, and Michael Edwards is no longer here. Jurgen Klopp won't be here forever, as much as I'd love him to be. So at some point, you do need to drop the cash on a serious baller. We did that with Van Dijk and Alisson because we had the Coutinho money in the bank. We needed a centre-back. We needed a goalkeeper. And we bought the 2 best in that position in world football. And that was the difference between us winning the Champions League and not. So it's an interesting one. I think Bellingham, we already know he's going to be a top player. That makes sense. Gravenberch yet to prove it at a decent level. I don't think the Dutch league is strong enough, and I've not seen enough of Neuhaus to comment really. I've seen a lot of Bellingham for Dortmund and obviously for England as well. So that would be my choice from that particular list. So we've got Rizzo in the comments. Any news on when Harvey Elliott will return from injury? As far as I'm aware, he was meant to be returning in March. However, his recovery has been a lot better than they expected. He was walking a lot quicker than they thought he would be. His recovery is going really well, and he's really young, so his body's responding really well to the treatment. So whether that can become February, potentially the end of Jan, would be absolutely fantastic, because he started the season absolutely on fire, and massive loss, because personally I didn't see Elliott featuring in this season. I thought he'd be loaned out maybe in the Prem. He had a good loan spell at Blackburn in the Championship, and you think, okay, really good, young Championship Player of the Year. Now can you do it in the Prem? We did something similar with Harry Wilson. We loaned him out in the Championship 2-3 seasons and slowly got better, and then he had a loan spell in the Premier League at Bournemouth and again did well. But weirdly, his next stop was Cardiff on loan in the Championship again, and it was a big backward step. And I think once that happened, we knew that the kind of time was up, and obviously Fulham signed him on a permanent deal. So yeah, Harvey Elliott, to be fair, obviously kind of my point with Minamino. Harvey Elliott wasn't even at the club last season. I know Minamino went out on loan to Southampton for a short time as well, but he was there for the first half of the season and obviously didn't show enough to be given his chance at Liverpool. And Harvey Elliott's returned over a pre-season, and rather than loan out an 18-year-old, Klopp's gone, I can use this guy. He's fantastic. We can actually use him in the first 11, let alone off the bench. The first 2-3 games of the season, he was on the first 11. He was starting the games. So if we can get Harvey Elliott back sooner rather than later, it's only going to be improvement for this Liverpool team. Qaid, yeah, to be fair, have we let Jota off a little bit here with that miss? Shocking. To go around the goalkeeper, running in on goal, and there's 2 players on the line, and you smash it straight at one of the defenders. I don't know why he's panicked. He's normally so calm on the ball. That goal against Everton in the week, that flick round the back and smashing it past the keeper in the top corner was absolutely sensational. So to see him not be able to put the ball away against nobody was a very strange one. Very strange one. It was really poor, but thankfully that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the Origi winner and Liverpool going top of the Prem, albeit for probably about 2 hours. But, at least we're putting ourselves in there. I hate it when everybody says, we're in the top 4 race, we're in the top 4 race. Well, if you're not in the top 4 at any point, you're not in the top 4 race. So again, if you're talking about winning the title, if you don't go top at all, even if your opponents lose or if you play the early kickoff, you're not in the title race. You have to be first at some point before the last second. And I know you'd still win the league, but you have to be in with a shout to win the Premier League. You have to be first, second, third, second, first over a season to actually be in the race for me. So yeah, I agree. I'm glad that Jota's miss is not the main talking point of this show. I've got Hendo, Adrian, Milner leaving the end of the season. So yeah, I agree. These links, these rumours for midfielders are only going to get stronger. Obviously, Gini Wijnaldum left in the summer, which we didn't really replace. Thiago has had his injury problems. He's in a good run of form now. Henderson's had his injury problems. So we're only kind of a Fabinho injury away from a bit of a crisis. Because Curtis Jones has missed quite a few games. Elliott's still out. So for me, yeah, I think a midfielder in the summer makes a lot of sense. Whether that be Bellingham, Phillips, Tielemans, or another, absolutely. But yeah, I think Milner and will be his last season. I said in the summer that I think Keita or Chamberlain move on in the summer, possibly both. But I think Chamberlain is slightly ahead now in that particular battle, and maybe we could get Bellingham in for 60 million plus Keita, 50 million plus Keita, something like that. I think would be a really good deal for Liverpool and another homegrown player. In his teens, Bellingham could be a future vice captain of this team. We've got Trent obviously going to be captain once Hendon and Van Dijk and Milner end their time at the club. I think Trent is an obvious choice for captain, and he has captained the team already. But if we can get some good wonder kids, some good young homegrown talent into this team, he's only from Birmingham. It's not a million miles away from Liverpool. I think it'll be a great signing. Interesting one here from Ray. Wouldn't mind Dembele. I think he's been injured for 680 something days. I would not touch him with a barge pole. Not at all. The wages, the fee. Don't get me started on Ousmane Dembele. There's so many better options out there. You've got Doku at Rennes, who we were linked with in the summer. Again, I've mentioned Rafinha, St. Maximin as well. I think Wilfried Zaha, I know he's got a link with Man United where he played there for a couple of years, but I think he'd be a great signing. He scores goals. Crystal Palace, everything good that Crystal Palace do is through him. And I don't think he'd cost an arm and a leg. I think he signed a new 5-year deal, so he's priced himself out of a move. I think that might be down to 3 years in the summer. So potential move for Wilfried Zaha. I think at that stage of his career, 28, 29, he wants to start winning some trophies. I don't think he wants to spend his entire career at Crystal Palace, albeit as a starter, yes, but are Crystal Palace ever going to come higher than 10th, 9th, 8th in the league in his career? I don't see it. So I think he would be a really good signing. I think 40 million, 50 million at tops would do it. I think he'd be a great option. Whether to start, I mean, you look at Jota came in from Wolves and did a good job. Zaha is just as good as Jota is, or just as good as Jota was at Wolves at Palace. So for me, that would be the one I would choose. Absolutely. Cradle to cradle, we don't need to go for risky big potentials every time. Sometimes we just need a perfect fix, not a big player, but just good for the job. That's fair. I think Liverpool's first 11 is probably one of, if not the best 11 in the world in terms of player for play. You know, you look at Alisson, best keeper in the world; Trent, best right back in the world; Robertson, best left back in the world; Van Dijk, best centre back in the world; Fabinho, best holding midfielder in the world; Salah, best right winger in the world. So player for player, there's not many people, not many teams that can boast a better 11 on paper than us. But I agree with you. I think once you get to a certain level, you need to keep on top of it, because if you stand still, you will go backwards. I look at Barcelona; they had the best 11 in the world under Pep Guardiola, and every summer they just sign one player for that 11. The whole summer's budget, oh, we need a CDM because he got old, or Puyol's left now, so we'll just sign the best centre back on the planet for now to replace him. So we've not done that now for a couple of seasons. We've let Genie walk out the door. We've not replaced him. Thiago's come in and done well. But I agree with you that there is definitely room for players that do a job. The likes of Samikas, the likes of Chamberlain, players that can come in now and again and do a decent job. Jota is the perfect example of that as well, and has done so well that he's almost become an 11th, 12th player, but fought himself into the first 11 as well. But I still think risky big potentials, you could also say a risky low potential as well. Some players that we've signed have not worked out whatsoever. So it's about finding that right balance, that right mix for me. I think you need to sometimes sign a big player. We signed Fabinho, Alisson, and Van Dijk all quite close together, and we needed all three. And we signed Keita for 60 million. It didn't work out. So 3 out of 4 ain't bad. I think we need another summer like that soon. Maybe not this summer, but maybe the summer after that. Henderson, Van Dijk are all going to start trickling on to 32, 33. We need to start signing some big players to go into that first 11 alongside some low risk potential players as well. So yeah, completely agree with you there. Zaha would be a good pick. Yep, I agree. As I say, I don't see anybody else. I don't think St. Maximin comes because Newcastle don't need to sell. And if they sold him, they'd be admitting that they're going to get relegated. If they do get relegated in the summer, I think St. Maximin is a really good option for Liverpool. But yeah, I just know that Palace could probably sell Zaha and not get relegated. So January is always going to be an expensive month to sign players. But I think in the summer, again, Wilfried Zaha would be a good option. I've had enough. I've had enough of Wolves players. I don't want Traore. I don't want Pedro Neto. We've got Jota. That's the best player that they had, and we signed him. I don't want any more Wolves players in this team. Thank you. We all dream of a team of Origis, absolutely. But coming to the end of the show now, guys, absolutely. You're trying to turn Wolves into the new Southampton. Exactly. No more Wolves players. We don't want a front three of Traore, Neto, and Jota. Thank you. No, thank you. Leicester decided to sign some Southampton players, and it's all gone wrong now. So you can't sign too many players from the same team. Obviously, we had a couple of absolute worldies in Mane and Van Dijk that came from Southampton. Lallana was good for a time, but Lambert, Klein, Lovren didn't particularly work out too much better. Hwang, he's probably the better one. Again, he looked good against us for Salzburg and scored a good goal, but it pains me to say that we signed Minamino from that team and not Erling Haaland. But that's it from me, guys. Again, thank you for joining us on the Red Sea podcast, on the Red Sea Full Time. Obviously a little bit different today. James is a little bit busy. I didn't know if I was going to make this show. I've had my wisdom tooth out this week, so I was in a little bit of pain and not able to speak particularly well, but it seems to have cleared up after 3 Di Serranos, celebrating the Liverpool victory. But yeah, that's been Red Sea Full Time, guys. We are back on your screens for the AC Milan preview show. That'll be the Fab Four on Tuesday, I believe. Liverpool play Wednesday this week in the 6th Champions League game. Where can we make it 6 wins out of 6, which would be incredible. I think that'd be the first English team to ever manage that feat and go into the last 16 full of momentum, 100% record, and bring anybody on. And again, me and James will hopefully be here again on your screens for Red Sea Full Time, reacting to that game as well. But that's been it for now, guys. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you next time.